We're going to try this 2008 question dealing with string parts. Now, it's a pretty tricky little question. I think it could have been maybe some better directions in part B, but whatever. So we got to deal with it. We've got another user-defined class here called string part. There's three things in it. It's got a constructor. So if I want to construct a string part, I would feed it a start and a length. And there's a get start and a get length. A string part's real similar to a substring if you read about it here. A substring has a beginning and an ending index. A string part's similar, except instead of an ending index, it has a length. So if you consider like the string part 37, 3, that gives you the letters O, V, E from this large string here called master string. And it did that by starting at index 37 and taking a length 3 string. If I was doing that as a substring, I would have said 37, 40 because we don't include that second index. And I made a little note of that here that, start plus length becomes really like the stop index of substring. So a string part is very, very similar to a substring. These string parts are then put into an array list called parts. And we're supposed to take all these string parts and remember are basically substrings, and concatenate them back together in order to form a larger string. And then we'll return that in part A, and that's our decode string. That's pretty easy to do. The part B of this problem is a little bit more difficult, and I think I'll make a separate video for that one. But let's try part A. So we could start off by saying, let's go ahead and create a string. There's currently no letters in our string, so we'll just call it the empty string to begin. And then later, we'll return that string when we're finished. This is probably easily accomplished with an enhanced for loop. Just go ahead and give me all of the string parts. I'll just call them SP for short. They come to me from a list called parts. If I have a string part, I can actually turn it into a substring pretty easily. So what I could do then is I could go to my master string with this string part and turn it into a substring. So the way I would do that is the substring wants 2 indexes. Well, the start index of this string part is exactly the same thing as like the starting index of a substring. The difference is what I wouldn't want to do here is use that other method called get length. That's where a substring and the string part differ. If I wanted the substring 37, 40, I'd have to put a 40 here. Well, length would only give me the number 3. If my starting index was 37, I'd want to go back and revisit that starting index and then add it to this length of this string part. So if I made a substring out of these 2 numbers, that would be the substring that I wanted from the master string. That's the substring that I would want to add on top of this build string. And if I just kept doing that for every string part that they handed me, and I did it in order from left to right, kept concatenating to the right, and eventually I should have this overall built string. I only put one test case in. It's going to recreate that same string over eager that we saw on the instructions. You could put more test cases in if you wanted, but this was just, an idea. Okay, so that's just part A. I'm going to make a separate video for part B.